Jesus said in Matthew 26:41, the spirit truly is willing, but the flesh is weak. So prayer is spiritual. Prayer is a spiritual exercise. Mighty men are product of mighty prayer lives. No man is bigger than his prayer life. Holiness is displayed in public but cultivated in the closet. The power to live holy is a private cultivation but a public display. Holiness is displayed in public but is cultivated in the closet. Walking with God takes time. The value you place on prayer is known by the time you give to it. Anything of value is time consuming. Anything of great value is time consuming. Anything you give time is what is prioritized. Without priority, without taking prayer and placing prayer as premium, the apex of your desire, the zenith of your pursuit, life is a mirage, a palace of disease, a schedule of failure, every exercise ending up in futility. Every man that gives himself to prayer, every man, hear this, every man that gives himself to prayer buys the ears of God. Every man that gives himself to prayer purchases the ears of God. God's attention is not purchased with money. A cattle on 1,000 hill belongs to God. God's attention is not purchased with any form of educational background. The cattle on 1,000 hill, God made it. God owns it. The galaxies, the seas, God owns them. There's nothing material that can take God's attention. All God desires of man is communication. Call unto me and I will show you. It doesn't matter what you think you have. It is infinitesimally immaterial, irrelevantly inconsequential, invaluable as the zero behind the decimal point. When you lack the principle of communicating with God, God is looking for men to pray. He's looking for men that can call upon him. Am I speaking to somebody right now? Prayer can never be too much. Prayer does not change things. Of course, you know, one of the things I do is most of the popular, regular cliches, things we grew up to believe. After sitting down to study them thoroughly, I tell you, not everything should be acceptable. That a lie has been in office for a long time doesn't make it the truth. Longevity is not legality. Am I speaking here? It's a prayer changes thing. I told you, don't just accept they say the downfall of a man is not the end of his life. It depends on where he's falling from. So don't just accept everything, you accept everything. Don't fall at all. Don't fall. Pray not to fall. Stop encouraging people with demeaning and derogatory statements. Prayer does not change nothing. Prayer does not make God more powerful. Prayer changes you till things change. Prayer changes your outlook to things. Prayer does not make God more powerful. God cannot be more powerful. He is God. He is the Alpha and Omega. He is the end of all things. But prayer makes you better until access is granted to you. It's like education. You don't go to school for the benefit of the school. You're going to the institution. The institution has nothing to gain. It is you that becomes better by going to school. Am I talking to somebody here? Yeah. That's why we have people who are graduates but they can't defend it. Because they have the mentality that going to school is carrying your body there but leaving your mind in the village. So they carry their body to the institution. In our organizations around the state and in the country, in those days I used to be involved directly in employing people before we grew. When I hear some graduates talk, Jesus, I wanted to told him to told her. I said, did you leave school the certificate? He said, I said, return it. And they are praying in church, very unemployable. We say youths are not employed. How many youths are employable? That that employment should be wiped out doesn't mean we should employ rascals. You see somebody who is not fluent say he wants to work in oil company. Sell engine oil. You can sell engine oil. A woman told me, said the son finished the polytechnic. The mother said, no, he won't do his HND. He must go directly to school. And the son must study medicine. So I called the boy, I said, let me pray with you. So I decided to pick his brains and engage his mind. When he opened his mouth, I said, did you pass through the polytechnic? He says, you passed through this school? He said, yes, sir. I said, and your mother says you should go to Unimed to study medicine? I said, no. This one cannot be a medical doctor. You end up a native doctor. This one, with this kind of pronouncement, is herbalist. He is better as a native doctor, not a medical doctor. With this kind of utterances, very unemployable. Am I communicating? So the institution makes you better. And one thing in education, that it changes your outlook to life and makes you productive. That's what prayer does. It is you prayer changes. When prayer changes you and changes your outlook to life. Am I communicating now? God shapes men who in turn shapes the world through prayer. God shapes men who in turn shapes the world through prayers. Anything that makes you pray is a blessing in disguise. Whether it is problem. You see, the problem that made you a prayer warrior, thank the problem. Anything that makes you pray is a blessing in disguise. Because after the problem is solved, the prayer life has been built. After the problem is solved, after God has met that need, that prayer capacity is instilled and is permanented. And that is why every believer must rise up to pray. You must be extremely connected to prayer. Sometimes God will use battles. Okay, let me use this word. Let me paraphrase. God will allow battles come our way to draw us closer to Him. God will allow certain battles come our way to draw us closer to Him. There are some of you, what brought you to Christ was a problem. You tried everywhere, nothing worked. Some of you, it was so bad that even witch doctors were tired of your case. I remember there was sometime in a pronounced witch doctor in this town will refer people to our church. He said, this one, they can't do it, go to Omega. A problem that brought you is a blessing in disguise. Am I communicating? Prayer discipline is the height of true devotion. Prayer discipline is a height of true devotion. So, how do I command this force of prayer? So, people pray, but they don't see answers. People pray. People pray. Why are people tired? People are tired of things that are not in disguise. Am I communicating? Prayer discipline is the height of true devotion.